Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to, I would like to frame it as how to get comfy real quick out of school in your first job. Because one, not being comfortable and being stressed out of your mind and worried about what everybody thinks is going to make you not a good engineer. It's going to contribute to you not being a great engineer. So I want to just wipe it off the table. Let's make it a non-issue. And I think how you start doing that is just realizing and accepting the fact that you're not good at something you've never done before. So I would just start there. Am I going to be great at this job? No. You're going to be absolutely trash. Just laid it out there. So be confident in that.
Yeah.
Step right up. Yeah, I don't know anything. This is great. Every interaction from day one is teaching me something.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn.
Yeah. You don't need to walk in and posture and be like, oh, I did all these cool things in school. Nobody gives a shit, really. They do. So, okay, let me separate that real quick because I don't want to come across like some asshole. They do, and they would love to hear about it, and they are interested. Yes, and it's cool to celebrate those things. But in being confident in your work at that job and producing revenue for that company and helping that company succeed, you have to realize that nobody cares. And why I bring that up is so that you can wipe your slate clean and be confident in that and build some new skills.
Yeah, I think what's important and what people do care about as far as everyone at the workplace meeting you for the first time, what they're going to care the most about is your excitement to be there, to learn, to grow, and where you can show confidence is in your ability to learn.
That's correct.
So if you come in confident, they're like, yeah, I can't wait to learn all this stuff. I will be up and running real quickly. And I can't wait to help, blah, 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 and just be super pumped about, being there. That is going to diffuse any kind of doubt of you being brought onto the team.
Yeah, and I would say just my personal opinion is don't overdo the excitement. Don't overdo the promising. Don't
Absolutely.
It gets old really quick.
There is a dichotomy there.
There's a dichotomy to be managed there. So I would show up just, notebook in hand, whatever that means to you, right? And so you're taking notes in meetings, you're summarizing things, you're leveraging AI tools right off the gate to support yourself.
Asking the right questions.
In your learning, asking the right questions, peeling back the layers of the onion. Just that's how you're showing that you're ready to go. And you could be confident in that. You couldn't have gone to school for so long and not had the ability to translate knowledge and information into how you needed to see it so you could ask some questions. So you should be really good at that. And you are, because you've been educated and doing this MO for decades. So you're ready, you're confident. You should just walk in and be like, all right, guys, I'm ready to learn from every single person here, and just get going.
Yeah. That first 30 days should be prioritizing listening and learning and asking questions. I think it just boils down to that. You don't want to prioritize having to know the right answer to solve a problem. That's not what they're looking for in your first 30 days. They're looking for you absorbing their systems, their processes, the technology that you're working on, et cetera, et cetera. And then that next 30 days is going to be you starting to integrate into their systems and their processes and what you're working on with quite a bit of oversight. And then the next 30 days after that, that's when you're going to be showcasing that you've absorbed a lot. Now, you're not going to be some top level expert, but you're going to be proficient enough to start doing things on your own. And that's when you can start showcasing the stuff that you learned the previous 2 months.
Yeah. And I feel pretty good about breaking down some time periods here, like 0 to 2 months, 2 to 4, 4 to 9, a year.
Yeah.
Like what you just said is perfect for the first 2 months.
Yeah.
Absorb, listen, ask questions. That's it.
Yeah, it can depend on the role, the level of intensity of the subject at hand, etc. But from my experience, uh, that 90-day trial, the employer is going to know everything they need to know about the new hire to know whether or not they're going to be successful in the long term. That's usually why they have the 90-day
Yeah, well,
probationary period, that kind of
you
stuff.
just got out of school and this is your first job.
Yeah,
And maybe you have some internships and stuff like that. But
yeah,
so
and
I'm comfortable with that 90-day window even.
yeah, exactly. But in my experience, a new grad engineer isn't going to be fully like just 100% effective, and knows all the systems in and out, knows all the processes, can lead initiatives, etc. for a couple years.
Absolutely. Yep. So have some patience.
Aggressive
At the
patience.
same time, aggressive patience. Work very hard to learn as much as possible within your and build your skill set in that. But be patient at the same time. So find ways to be engaging and learning and all that while you're waiting for that time period to kind of go by, because no one gets to skip it. There might be people out there telling you that you're able to, or you might think that you might be able to.
You're
but
going to
no
be
one
that one
gets to,
exception.
no one gets to skip that period. If you have someone, so here's the caveat to that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have someone in the company whose main purpose is to find people and grow them because they love doing that, right? Then you can, and you participate fully, then yeah, you there's some acceleration that can happen there, big time.
Yeah, 100% there.
Yeah. If someone's bought in and you're pushing just as hard, right? And you know how to activate them as well, then you can speed that up a lot. But first 2 months, yeah, listening, asking questions, learning, absorbing, getting everything down pat, like the things that you do learn them well, right? Spend the time to where you get it down. And then like 2 to 6 months, is starting to build systems for yourself. Once you've identified like, hey, what's really important for this set of, tasks that I'm usually given, you're pulling out the important little bits, like why does this task exist? You're asking those questions in the first 2 months. Why does this task exist? Why has it been given to me? Where does it fit in the overall deliverable? Who wants this? Why do they want it? So you're figuring out the who, what, why, when, where, how, all the stuff around these tasks that you're being given. And then you're going through the muck and the systems that they already have so that you can learn it from scratch. And then 2 to 6 months, I think it's, all right, what can I do for myself and my own prep and my own systems to make these tasks more efficient, deliver more value, do it in a way that props the team up and delivers value to the client. So that's one of the things that you can start kind of focusing on, right? What else can you build on top of that, Steve?
I would say get around your organization and meet people.
Yep.
Make your face known around the company, in a good way, of course. But be interested in what other people are doing, and you might find something somewhere in the organization that just really excites you that may not be in your direct role at the time, but could be a future opportunity for you to be involved with. But meeting people in the organization is going to build your internal network, and that's just going to be an accelerant for your ability to learn all the systems throughout the company, know who to talk to when you need to solve a certain problem, and then it also builds advocacy when you need to start rallying for your first promotion, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, because other people are going to be like, oh yeah, Jake, man, he's such a kick-ass engineer. He's learned everything from my department and that department, and his project goes so smooth because he knows exactly who to talk to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's you're going to set yourself in a advantageous position if you. I'm not saying go out and socialize like a socialite, never get any work done, but if you engage with everyone in your company.
Yep. And I just kind of want to. So you're planning for that long-term play, which is great. The frame I want to get us into overall is like that you should be prioritizing learning. Mm-hmm. So there's that saying, earn to learn. I wouldn't be so focused at that time on making more money and what's the market rate, and am I getting, even when your friends are texting you going, oh, I was able to just put a down payment on a new like BMW and I'm doing so great and all this stuff because I got all this pay. It's like, that's cool, but what are you learning about engineering, and what skills are you stacking other than getting into debt? What are you getting good at other than handing your money over so that a bank owns your ass so that you can have a nice car? Like, sorry, that's some of my personal values are coming through here. But what are you doing other than just like screwing off over here and telling me about your car? It's like, oh, that's great. So I would just say, like, really prioritize that chance to learn everything that you can, and just use that frame, man. You're there making enough money to get by, live better than you used to, and you're building on that quality of life, and that's great. But you're learning. You're gonna do yourself a disservice if you're not stacking skills at this time, and prioritizing gaining skill over what can I spend my money on to send to my friends so that they think I'm doing great, right? Like, and then zooming in on like a little tactic for that 2 to 6 month period, on top of what Steve was saying. For 0 to 2 months, you're learning as much as you can, and you're learning the tasks that are really appropriate for the job you have right now. And then you can create yourself just a little blurb, or you could say it to people. You could create a document. You can share whatever you want. But it's like, okay, you're going to approach someone you haven't met in the company before, and you're just going to let them know that you exist. And you're going to let them know what you've learned so far. I can help it with these things. If you ever have any overflow, ask me if I've got time in my schedule to help you out for that week. Because I know that we all share resources. I know the allocation of resources fight is always going on between upper management. I understand that. That will show some forethought. Like, you're thinking about how can you be useful as a resource to others in the company, and they will appreciate that. And if you have that list of things that you can do, that's just going to help you meet more people. And they'll be like, oh, there's a reason they're calling me. They're offering up to be a resource. And they've already told me that if I have time in my schedule, then I would gladly help you out. But my main priority is within my lane. It's within my structure that I'm in, sure. And I'm brand new, so that's fine. But I can do these things. So if you need someone, call my manager. Or you can call me, and I'll talk to my manager and say, hey, do we have the bandwidth to fit this in? I'd like to do these panel schedules for Steve next week. Yeah, cool. You were going to be in a lull next week anyway. This project's not kicking off, so yeah, fill that in. Then all of a sudden you're becoming this indispensable resource for people to use in the company, which you should be. You should be striving to do that.
Yeah, and it's going to be noticed very quickly.
Yeah. So in this 2 to 6 month period, I don't know why we chose that, it's just kind of arbitrary, but what else could we be doing as a relatively new employee to prepare ourselves for the 6 to 12 month period? What are we setting ourselves up for? So we talked about the spreading awareness of who we are. So that's really good, internal networking. We've talked about creating systems for the tasks that we do on a regular basis so we can make room for efficiency and maybe even some more tasks. Maybe they can start asking around for the next level up. What does the next person in my seat
I would say that's the further one.
Okay.
I think, what'd you say, 6 to 12?
The 6 to 12 is the next.
Okay,
I wanted to do one more for the 2 to 6 month.
Because I was going to say the 6 to 12 is become an expert in your current role.
Yeah. So what's
I mean, we're going back to the whole spiral thing, right?
Yeah. I think the last thing that you could be thinking about, because three is enough. We talked about systems to make yourself more efficient and maybe make some room for some more tasks. We talked about the internal networking that Steve brought up, and maybe a little tactic that you can use to make an excuse for introducing yourself. And I think a third one that can fit to not overwhelm you. Start thinking about and perhaps doing some of, or asking questions about, what does the next role contain? What tasks are in that role? When I am eventually promoted to the next standard role, what do they do on a daily basis? And I would start thinking about that and start imagining or even practicing day to day to be that person, because I always advise that you start doing the things that the next role above you does before you get there. And it makes it smooth sailing once you do get into the role. And I think it propels you forward. So that's the last thing I would say. Go ask some questions, figure out what it is.
I think for the next phase of you coming on board is really becoming an expert at everything that is under your current role, your current position. Maximize your ability to execute on everything that is in your to-do list, and then start stacking accomplishments, because those accomplishments plus what you talked about as far as start exploring the things else that are the next level up, and start getting your feet wet in those action items. Those are the two things that are going to get you to that next level.
Do you think it's a year, Steve, before you start thinking about that?
Yeah.
I may be thinking too quick because I like to take action very quickly.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You think that should be moved to the 6
I think
to
you
12
should
months?
I think you should be thinking about the future a few months in, but so that way you can set yourself up to start getting more and more responsibility and more projects, and being able to get more advanced projects as you start gaining accomplishments in your current role, right? Because you don't want to wait a year and a half down the road and then start thinking about those things. So people should think about that stuff early on, but you have to have the expectation that you need to be an expert in your current role, and then start stacking accomplishments beyond that before you're going to be promoted, right? Because you're not going to be promoted based off of, oh, he's great at his current role and that's it. You need to go beyond expectations, and then that's how you get that accelerated career path.
Yeah. So I would take back, I think, what I said earlier, or maybe just supplement with the idea that keep your eye on the ball, right? We don't want to be getting over our skis. We want to be experts, like you said, at the role and the responsibilities that we have. And depending on how fast that occurs, what job you're in, how many tasks they have, whatever, it can fluctuate a little bit, but at least start thinking about what that next role is. But I would say, if you can do it, have the patience to aggressively pursue becoming an expert for the first year at the role that you're in. You're going to be very well suited to enter the next role, help the people that are now entering the role that you just were in previously in a way that matters. Because if you skip it too quickly or take your eye off the ball, you're going to get promoted. You could get promoted, but you're going to not have become a master of the previous role enough to help somebody else in that position. Yeah. And if that's not your goal, and you want to be promoted as quickly as possible, that you could do that. But just some words of caution there.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to stack the evidence of your expertise. You're not going to get promoted off of a promise that you're good at what you do. You're going to get promoted off of the evidence. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. So we started out this episode as clearing the slate to keep the fear and anxiety and worry to a minimum. I think doing all the things we just talked about is going to help you do that. Confidence is gained. And I'm not saying the words, Steve, on purpose. I'm not saying the typical label that people are strapping themselves with on purpose, because I want to get away from it. And I know we've addressed it earlier, but I want to get away from that label. Because the more I learn, the more I'm around, labels are just dumb. So confidence is a skill, and you gain that skill by stacking wins over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And you can't shortcut that. So just take the little wins as you go. The win in the very beginning is learning from as many people as you can, taking action on the advice they give you, strapping on your boots and trudging through the muck to figure out how these tasks are done. How do you best fulfill them? Not recreating the wheel, asking for support, but taking action. My favorite piece of advice to rid yourself of the feelings that lead to anxiety and overly stressed. You can't get rid of stress. Stress is a part of life. It's an indicator, and it's a tool that you use, and managing it is a skill. You don't get rid of it, ever. But to do that, you just take action.
Yes.
Consistently, over and over.
Yeah. And how you build confidence is taking action multiple times and succeeding in what that action is over and over and over again is how you gain confidence in your ability to accomplish those things. So that's what confidence is.
And along the way, and I mention this because I see it a lot, and I participated for a second when I was new. I got over it real quick. You'll fail, or perceivably fail, or struggle, or get the wrong answer, or realize that you spent 2 hours and the answer you discovered in 2 seconds, and we're like, geez, how did I spend all this time doing all this and the answer was obvious? And then you start thinking it's obvious to everyone but me. And it's just, there's just all this crap that your mind piles on you for whatever reason. When I become an expert psychologist, I'll let you know what the real reason is, but I know it's there. And if you just let that stuff go, you got to the answer. That's the important thing. And then you get to the next one, and then you get to the next one. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about that. If it took you too long, if you're asking dumb questions, and most of that's just kind of made up in your head anyway, as to the perceived, response that other people are giving you, like, oh man, why did it take this person so long? They're like, nobody cares, just win. Nobody cares, just take more action. Nobody cares, just stack wins and gain confidence. Don't know if anybody needed to hear that, but I've seen it a lot in newer engineers. They don't want to show you that they're struggling to figure the thing out. It's like, dude, just struggle and just get the answers and just move, because the ultimate goal is to win and stack it so you get confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to focus on. Get rid of all that other nonsense.
Yep.
Easier said than done. I know this.
All right. If you learn something,
I can get off my soapbox now.
Yep. I'm wrapping this one up. So, yeah, if you learned something today or think someone else needs to hear our point of view and on this topic, please share this show. I also encourage you to leave us a review, an honest review, and include why you're leaving the review and how it's impacted you or someone you know as well. It's the best way we can grow this show and continue to create value and impact for the engineering community.
And if you're too busy winning and taking action and gaining confidence to do that, then just click the 5 stars.